So, there's a lot of news happening right now. Are you gonna speculate on the Galactic Legend pirate that's coming? Nah. Oh, so you're probably gonna talk about the fact that 4 of the 5 new raid teams are brand new teams? Also, no. Something about Luminara, because she's in the raid? Not today. So what? I think you already know. Welcome back to the class, everyone. So yes, while there is a lot going on, and I would love to address and probably will address a lot of those other things in other videos, one of the most time-sensitive things right now is discussing how we should be hoarding bonus drops. So first off, before we actually get into the spreadsheet, or actually not the spreadsheet today, I do want to explain where this information is coming from. It is coming from the Galaxy of Heroes event server on Discord. I do not believe this has been publicly announced, at least at the time of this filming, from Galaxy of Heroes or CG themselves. And because of that, we have good but limited information. Moving on to what that means. This is bonus drops. It's very important that I clarify that, because a lot of times when people see the word drops and dates and things like that, they think double drops. Double drops is when pretty much everything in the game that's on a node has the chance to drop double instead of a single. That's not the case here. Every single thing in the game is going to remain the same quantity. The only difference is on certain nodes, we are going to be getting extra character shards. Now, from what we know for a fact is that these bonus drops are happening from the 13th to the 16th. And in addition to that, thanks to, again, Barbarossa on the event server, we have data mined where each of the characters can be farmed per location. So you can see here on the spreadsheet, we already kind of have that ordered out. For normal energy, it is split between dark side and light side. Hard nodes, I believe only. Crosshair will be on the dark side. Omega will be on the light side. Cantina has Wrecker. Not really a hard node situation there because all Cantina is the same. Batcher on Fleet, as well as Hunter on Mod Energy. Now, again, at this time, only the characters have really been confirmed. We do not know if you already have that character, if that shard will continue to drop, or if it will be substituted with something else. Very typically, I think actually every single time, there ends up being some type of substitute for that shard if you already have the character completely at 7 stars. Last year, when Gungans had a very similar event in June, the item or piece that dropped if you already had the character maxed out were the following. We had Omegas on the normal energy, we had Zetas on Cantina, and then we had the computer Chirotech on Fleet and the Chirotech Prod on Mod Energy. That is not confirmed, that's just what they did last year, so it seems likely they would continue to do it. So now that we know kind of what's going on with bonus drops, where those shards are being added to, we don't exactly know the drop rates, but again, with Gungans last year, they were pretty good. The big problem here, and this is going to be a little bit weird because it's going to be almost an anti-hoarding hoard video, because as you can see from the probably very familiar schedule below, we really can't hoard for this. At the time of recording, it is currently June 11th. This event is for June 13th. So we already missed out on what would have been the first 2 days of hoarding to really maximize bonus drops. And I'm not even saying that was wise to do, but if it was, that's how we would need to do it. And the other issue is, I mean, it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, again, when I'm filming this. The 11th, most people have already burned through their refreshes for the day, so a normal hoarding pattern, if Bad Bat shards are going to be good for you, isn't even really valid to begin with. So we need to talk about another strategy. So with that being said, we're going to head over to the actual in-game that we have over here. So as you can see, I have already spent my energy at the top. In fact, I've already done my 100 crystal refresh for Cantina, as well as my 50s for the remaining energy. So what I'm going to do to maximize profit for these Bad Bat shards, because they're going to be in the raid, and I would like to at least even out some of the inconsistencies. For example, if we go into my Bad Batch here, you will see that I am currently farming all of them, but where my Crosshair is currently very differently from where my Omega is, despite the fact that I'm actually refreshing his node when I'm not actually even refreshing Omega at all, just because of the times that they came out. So for me, this is going to be an opportunity to kind of even some of these out. It is actually especially helpful that Omega and Crosshair are using the same type of energy. That way I can heavily favor him to kind of get him caught up and then even these out. But again, to the actual hoarding process, this is more or less what my plan is going to be. So I'm going to act casual or normal today, the 11th. Again, my refresh is already gone. I really don't have a great opportunity to hoard, and even if I did, I don't know if I would want to, because while there are going to be additive or bonus drops for all the Bad Batch characters, those characters are all also on nodes, so it leaves this really weird predicament where I'm gonna have to not hoard or not farm Omega on her normal dark side node to be able to go and farm her on a light side node, or rather hoard for it on a light side node, or the same with Wrecker, where I'm not spending him through normal energy and I'm hoarding so that I can go ahead and use him on Cantina energy. So it's a little bit of cutting off your nose to spite your face. I'm not sure how the actual math would break down, but the good news is we don't even have to run it because that opportunity is essentially gone. So again, acting normal today. Tomorrow, the 12th, what I am going to do is I'm not going to immediately jump on any refreshes, not Cantina, not normal, not mod, not fleet. I'm just going to do the bare minimum to accomplish really two goals. I am going to accomplish the goal of hitting my daily 600, which is very important for both raid tickets, as well as getting crystals from the daily chest and other things like that. In addition to that, I'm going to try to hit all of the goals for all of my Bad Batch characters that have limited shard opportunity. What do I mean by limited shard opportunity? If you go and look on Wrecker, I only have 5 attempts before I have to start paying even more. So I'm going to do the 5 attempts for Wrecker. I'm going to move on to Crosshair or Omega, do the 5 attempts and then move on. I'm not going to burn any crystals. Especially for Hunter, I'm also not going to be doing any of my normal Cantina refreshes, because Hunter has an unlimited amount that you can farm as long as you have the energy to do so. So I'm going to let that be. I'm not going to do any refreshes. The other thing that I am going to do again with this part of step 2 here is I am going to just let my energy accumulate all the way to 144 by the end of the day. So what I have to do during the day is spend that down so I'm not constantly sitting at the cap and essentially burning energy. So that way, I spend what I need on either Hunter or the other characters to maintain those thresholds below the 144 limit, so that at the end of the day, I can get them right about there. And then on step 4 here, I want to do the 50 crystal refreshes that night, where my energy will stop accruing and I will essentially burn 6 to 8 hours worth of energy. So again, let this accrue all the way up to 144. Click the 50 crystal refresh button 3 times. That's something that I would typically do in any normal day. Now I'll just be able to leverage that on a bunch of random hard nodes. Now, I don't love saying this, but I'm trying to get this video out really quickly, so I've not had time to run the math. Historically, the drop rates for shards have been high enough to actually justify farming character nodes where characters that you already have farmed. Obviously, I wouldn't advise doing that if there are other characters that you need to farm, but all that to say, it is, for me, going to be worth it to be coming into the 13th with, I don't know, 400, 500 energy farmed, even if I can only spend it on a hard node for Crosshair, because it's going to be worth it in the long run than having to spend crystal refreshes on his node to be able to get him faster to even things out, to be able to have the whole team ready to go. So I realized this was kind of a different rundown than the normal one, but given the time constraints that we're given, this is basically the best solution that I could come up with, is doing those 50 crystal refreshes once I hit the 144 cap right before I go to bed on the night of the 12th, so that I can maximize additive drops on the 13th. Now, one slight note or caveat to that is that Cantina Energy is a 100 crystal refresh, so go ahead and do those. Basically, what we're trying to avoid is doing more than 3 refreshes per energy, because that typically hasn't been economical. It actually might be the right strategy, depending on what the drop rates for the shards is, but as I don't actually know that, I am leaning on the conservative side. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and as always, stay awesome.